That was a long time ago, by the way, just to be clear. When I did American Idol, all they ever did was put horrible singers in front of me. There is a difference they show there. Good Simon Cowell is known for his tough, no-nonsense attitude, but something just happened that left him in tears, and it all involves Courtney Hadwin, the young powerhouse stunned the world with her jaw-dropping voice, owning a golden buzzer and a spot in music history, but behind the scenes her journey took an unexpected turn that no one saw coming. What happened to Courtney that shook Simon to his core, and why is the music industry in shock? Stay tuned. This story is as emotional as it is unbelievable. The rise of a legend. It all began in a quiet coastal town in England, Hartlepool to be exact, a place where life moved at a slow, familiar rhythm, and where no one expected our future rock star to emerge. But inside a modest home, a young girl was about to write that story. Courtney Hadwin was never the kind of child who stood out in a crowd. In fact, she was painfully shy. Speaking in class felt like an impossible challenge, and she often faded into the background. But the moment she picked up a microphone, everything changed. Her parents noticed it early on. At home, she would sing along to songs, her voice raw and powerful, carrying an energy far beyond her years. It was as if through music, she became someone else entirely. Still, no one could have predicted just how extraordinary her talent was until the day she stepped onto a stage for the first time. At around 10 years old, Courtney performed at her school's talent show. It was nothing grand, just a simple stage, a few rows of plastic chairs, and parents watching with polite curiosity. But the second she started singing, the atmosphere shifted. This wasn't just another novice child whispering lyric into a microphone. She was electric. Teachers exchanged glances, parents leaned forward in their seats. Something about her was different. That moment sparked something life-changing. Encouraged by her parents and teachers, Courtney started entering competitions, performing at local music schools, and refining her stage presence. And how old are you? 13. And what's your favorite subject in school? Music. But it wasn't about being poor or perfect. It was about passion, raw and untamed. And she had it in abundance. Unlike most kids her age who idolized modern pop stars, Courtney was drawn to the legends Janis Joplin, Etta James Brown. She studied them obsessively, not just their voices, but their movements, their intensity, the way they commanded the stage. For her, music wasn't just about singing, it was about feeling every note in her bones and making the audience feel it too. By the time she was 12, Courtney had made a name for herself in the local music scene. She performed anywhere she could. Small festivals, open mic nights, and local venues. Every time she stepped onto a stage, it was as if she transformed. Offstage, she was still the quiet, slightly awkward girl from Hartlepool, but under the spotlight, she was unstoppable. Then came the moment that changed everything. The Voice Kids UK in 2017, standing before the judges, she looked nervous, uncertain. But the moment the music started, everything flipped. She launched into a fiery, raspy performance of Tina Turner's Nutbush City Limits, and within seconds, jaws dropped, judges' eyebrows shot up, the crowd erupted. It was happening again. That same undeniable energy that had once filled a small school auditorium was now lighting up a national stage. Danny Jones, the judge who chose her for his team, knew instantly that she was special. She advanced far in competition, wowing audiences with her ability to channel the raw power of classic rock icons. But The Voice Kids was just the beginning. It was proof that she had what it took. The world just hadn't realized it yet. In 2018, just a year later, Courtney Hadwin walked onto the stage of America's Got Talent. What happened next would be unforgettable. From the moment she started singing, there was no denying it. This was a voice that couldn't be ignored. She wasn't just another contestant. She was a force of nature, and the world was finally about to take notice. But could she actually deliver? How did a girl from a small English town have this much soul? Why wasn't she already famous? Let's find out. Courtney Hadwin's AGT journey. The stage was bigger, the pressure was higher, and this time the entire world was watching. When 13-year-old Courtney Hadwin stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage in 2018, she looked like any other novice contestant. Small and shy, she gripped the microphone with both hands, her eyes darting around as she faced the panel of judges. She was supposed to come out, and then said, "She's so scared. Can we wait?" Hi, welcome to America's Got Talent. Simon Cowell, Ho Mandel, Heidi Klum, and Mel Beatty treat her kindly, but there was a hint of doubt in their expressions. After all, they had seen plenty of young hopefuls walk onto that stage dreaming of stardom. Then the music started. Hard to Handle by Otis Redding, a bold and unexpected choice for someone so young, and in that instant everything changed. Gone was a timid girl from Hartlepool, England. In her place stood a powerhouse performer, as if she had just stepped out of a 1970s rock concert. Her voice was raw, raspy, and filled with soul. Shedded just sing. She commanded the stage. Her body moved with the rhythm, arm swinging, legs stomping, every ounce of energy pouring into the song. Within seconds, the audience was on their feet cheering wildly. The judges were stunned before the last note even faded. Mandel slammed the golden buzzer. The crowd erupted as golden confetti rained down, and Courtney stood frozen in disbelief, covering her face in shock. Howe rushed onto the stage, declaring that she was a star, comparing her to the legendary Janis Joplin. Backstage, her family burst into tears of joy, overwhelmed by what had just happened. That single moment changed everything overnight. She became a viral sensation. Her audition video racked up millions of views within days. People couldn't stop talking about her. But America's Got Talent wasn't just about one jaw-dropping audition. Courtney had to prove herself again and again. In the quarterfinals, she took on James Brown's Papa Got a brand new bag, hitting electrifying high notes and dancing with pure energy. The semifinals, Tina Turner's River Deep Mountain High, where she cranked up the intensity even more every time she stepped onto that stage. She left the audience buzzing. That end up on this show you're watching right now. You are not from this era, and I'm a huge Janis Joplin fan. By the time she reached the final, she was one of the most talked about contestants of the season. For her final performance, she chose Piece of My Heart by Janis Joplin, bringing her journey full circle. The comparisons to Joplin had followed her from the beginning, and now she embraced them fully. It was a performance filled with fire and passion, a fitting way to close out the competition. But when the results were announced, Courtney Hadwin didn't win. The grand prize went to the magician Shin Lim. Some fans were outraged, believing she had been robbed off victory, but losing AGT wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. Shortly after the competition, she landed a record deal with Psycho Music and Arista Records, an opportunity most young artists could only dream of. Even Simon Cowell himself saw her potential, believing she had the talent to become one of the greats. She returned to AGT, the champions, in 2019, further cementing her place in the industry. But fame is unpredictable. One moment you're the internet's biggest obsession. She was still young, still discovering her sound, and making the transition from a reality show contestant to a full-fledged artist wasn't easy. Her AGT journey had put her on the map, but what came next would define everything, as she would soon learn the road ahead wasn't as smooth as Saverio had imagined. The spotlight moves on Courtney had gained worldwide recognition, but now came the real challenge. Could she turn that viral moment into a lasting career? Let's take a closer look. Maneuvering the music industry, winning America's Got Talent wasn't the key to success for Courtney Hadwin, and they looked for nervous. She could barely speak when she came on stage. It was like, you know, hello, what's your name? She had already won over the world. By the end of 2018, she had something even more valuable than a trophy, a record deal with Psycho Music and Arista Records. For any young artist, this was a dream come true, a chance to work with some of the biggest names in the music industry and turn viral fame into a lasting career. But the music business isn't just about talent, it's about timing, momentum, and sometimes forces beyond an artist's control. The pressure to prove herself was immediate. Fans wanted an album. The industry wanted to see if she could be more than just a reality show sensation. Instead of diving straight into original music, she took a different approach. In 2019, her first official release, The Cover Sessions, featured classic songs that allowed her to showcase her voice in a professional studio setting. It was a solid introduction, but it left one big question hanging in the air. Transitioning from a competition show finalist to a full-fledged recording artist wasn't easy. On stage, she was electrifying, raw, unpredictable, and magnetic, but recording music was a different challenge. It required precision production and a willingness to adapt to an industry that often pushes young artists toward a more mainstream sound. Finding the balance between staying true to her gritty, soulful style while meeting the expectations of a major record label wasn't simple. Then, just as her career was picking up momentum, the unexpected happened. By early 2020, she was in the middle of planning a major project. Studio sessions were underway and talks about live performances were in motion, but then the pandemic hit. The music industry came to a grinding halt. Tours were canceled, album plans were put on hold. For an artist still trying to find her footing, it was a devastating setback. Amid the chaos, she parted ways with her record label. The details of the split were never made public, but by 2021, one thing was clear: Courtney Hadwin was going independent. For many artists, leaving a major label can mark the beginning of the end, but for Courtney, it was a new beginning. Instead of rushing to release an album under industry pressure, she took her time. She experimented, wrote new music, and figured out exactly what kind of artist she wanted to be. In 2023, she made her long-awaited comeback with a series of original singles Breakable That Golden Live Here and Monsters the Ladder Off, which climbed to number 119 on Billboard's Hard Rock Digital Song Sales chart. This was Courtney on her own terms, not just the teenage sensation from AGT, but a musician carving out her own path. Her music had evolved, blending rock, blues, and soul in a way that felt uniquely her, and her fans were still there rooting for her every step of the way by 2020. For she was stepping back into the spotlight in a big way that year. She performed at the New York Pop 41st birthday gala in honor of music industry legend Clive Davis. A sign that she was gaining recognition beyond the world of reality TV. Later that year, she recorded live versions of her songs at Metropolis Studios, capturing the raw, unfiltered energy that had always set her apart. It felt like a turning point after years of struggle, reinvention, and patience. Things were finally falling into place. But just when everything seemed to be aligning, life threw her another unexpected challenge. Only this time it wasn't about their industry. This time it was personal, and as the news spread, it became clear this wasn't just another career setback. This was something far more serious. Could she create original music with the same magic that had made her AGT performances unforgettable? Let's explore further. Life after AGT fame isn't just about the music, the standing ovations, or the viral moments that set social media on fire. It's not just about signing record deals or hearing the roar off a crowd. The real test begins when the cameras stop rolling, the applause fades, and the world moves on. For Courtney Hadwin, the journey after America's Got Talent, singing a teenager from Countdown who wowed the judges on America's Got Talent, is preparing to take part in 5 rounds of the show, was anything but a straight road to stardom. Was a twisting, unpredictable path filled with sky-high expectations, the politics of the music industry, and the personal struggle of discovering who she was beyond the stage. By 2024, she wasn't the 13-year-old sensation who left audiences speechless with her raw old soul voice. Hey, had when she's 13 years old, she is saucy and so awkward. She was now a young woman, an artist trying to carve out her place in an industry that had claimed her before she even had the chance to figure out who she wanted to be. From the outside, it looked like everything was falling into place. She was creating music, booking performances, and gaining recognition beyond her reality show roots. The transition from viral fame to a lasting career is one of the hardest challenges any artist can face, and Courtney was no exception. The music industry has a way of taking young stars and either molding them into something marketable or forgetting them entirely. She refused to be turned into a polished, predictable pop star, but finding her own space in an industry that thrives on trends wasn't easy. Everyone had an opinion on what she should do next. Some insisted she should embrace rock and become the face of a new musical revival. Others pushed her toward a more commercial, radio-friendly sound. And then